Again, good morning. And I really want to thank the praise team. I don't know if you really know this, but you know, the praise team is 99% are young people, second gen, and they're guests from CARP and things like that. And you know, they work really, really hard, but right now, of course, is summer, and so many are going to workshops, and they're going to Korea, and they're visiting home. And even, you know, the two that we've kind of had as leaders, Masato and Ilya, they're gone for a few months. But that doesn't stop them. It doesn't stop them at all. They just look for ways to make it work, for ways to make it happy. Wasn't it so wonderful to see Angie here again? You know, and everybody came together. Jung-ae, she's been kind of taking charge, right? Thank you, Jung-ae. Jeffrey's helping her. David too, but he wasn't here today. So let them know, because they come and they practice late and work hard. They really want to raise the spirit and make you feel God. So thank you. And thank you, Sita, for your prayer. And you mentioned my name. I appreciate that. Now I see your lovely wife. And Clara. Yes, and thank you, Reverend Mrs. Dew. We love you very much. We're so grateful for you. Thank you. So, as you can see, the title today is Fifth Realm. It sounds a little cosmic, and I'm going to twist it all up here, so it really won't matter when it's all done, but I want to start off with a couple of stories and kind of lighten things up. They're kind of grandparent jokes, and you'll understand why in a little bit. So one evening, a grandmother is taking care of her two grandkids, or granddaughters, and 8 o'clock came around, and she says, "Okay, kids, it's time for bed." And a little girl, Clara, she jumps up and says, "No, it's too early. Why do we got to go to bed?" And the other one says, "Yeah, why?" And she goes, "Because your father said so." She says, "But you don't have to listen to him." He goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You're his mother." And I guess she's right. And you know, the best babysitters, of course, are the baby's grandparents, right? You know, you feel completely comfortable in trusting your baby with them for long periods, which is why most grandparents move to Florida, just in case you're wondering. And they say the cutest things, too, the young kids, you know, and the older we get, the more we laugh. My friend's grandson was visiting one day, and he says, "Grandpa, do you know that you and God are a lot alike?" You know, and my friend, you know, he starts shining his halo up, and he's thinking, "Wow, yeah. No, how are we alike?" He says, "You're both old." Right? Oh, it's like a grandma and granddaughter, they're sitting there talking one day, and granddaughter says, "Did God make you, Grandma?" "Yes, God made me," the grandma answered. A few minutes later, the little girl said, "Did God make me too?" "Yes, God made you too." She sat there for a few minutes, and the grandmother was kind of wondering, what is this all about? Finally, she spoke up. She says, "You know, Grandpa," she said, "God's doing a lot better job lately, isn't he?" Anyways, grandparents. So I'll tell you a little story, and just so we don't get too far off the title, I hope I push this the right way. The fifth realm, or being a grandparent. And you must know, most of you, that the reason that I'm talking about grandparents is partly because, you know, just recently, on May 26th, Claudia and I became grandparents for the first time. Yeah. And I didn't realize how special it was. You know, many of us, as we get older, we start looking, you know, for grandkids. We're not really sure why, but we think we want to do it all again, this time the right way, right? I'm not sure why, but we were looking, and then, but when it happens, it's just so amazing. And our daughter let us be a part, of her pregnancy and the showers and the watching and talking and the anticipation. And actually, when her water broke and it was time to go, she had a suite all picked out at the hospital. Henderson Hospital, by the way, is great for babies. And we were allowed to be in the room and got to share that experience, of the labor. And my daughter was really proud of her. She hardly swore at all. For the longest time, they couldn't give her an epidural. They kept missing. And so she was in a lot of pain for a while. And but she kept her cool pretty well. And we taught her to breathe. And, we're all cheering her on. And it was really kind of cute. Actually, her doctor was like a cheerleader, too, like a sports trainer. Okay, come on. 1, 2, 3, up, breathe, push. Just like that. And I'm thinking, wow, and she's done this a few times, right? But after a while, they finally gave her the epidural, right? And a little while later, she had our first grandchild, a grandson. Yes? And we were just so elated. We sat there and hugging and, oh, there you go. This is first, I think I held her first. No, Mama did, I can't remember. With my daughter. This is Julian, and he was born in the USA. And we're so grateful, and we watch because she doesn't usually do Facebook, but now she is. Every day there's 3 or 4 or 5 pictures. And we have a group called the Fam, and we have relatives in Brazil and all over. And so she shares that with all of us. So every day we get to see a new Julian, and it's been really awesome. And I'm just really excited about it. I don't know, when we were in there with my daughter, who I watched also coming out, when I saw her having a baby coming out, it was quite an experience, and we really bonded in love, and I was so proud of her, of course. And but what is so special about being a grandparent? Well, I'm going to tell you. So I'm going to quote a little bit from different things. These are just some words here that grandparents grace a family with wisdom, experience, and delightful love for their grandchildren. In traditional cultures where 3 generations live under one roof, children honor their grandparents and care for them in their infirmity as a part of the daily life, learning lessons of love and respect in the process. Grandparents are moral anchors. In many traditions, the honor given parents and grandparents is linked to the honor given by the ancestors and the gods in one vertical chain of devotion. In this light, Father Moon speaks of grandparents as a representative of God in the home. Honoring them in a way is a way of honoring God, the greatest grandpa parent of all. Now, the responsibilities are mounting. I thought it was going to be all fun and games. I was going to get even a little bit, Coke and candy, and send them home all wound up and spoil them like crazy. But I guess I have a responsibility, of watching out, guiding. The Native American religion says, the feeling of grandparents for their grandchildren can be expressed this way. Our children are dear to us, but when we have grandchildren, they seem to be dearer than our children were. You might say that the grandmother falls all over herself to try to show her appreciation for the grandchild. Now, isn't that right, Claudelina? I've never heard adorable so many times in my whole life as I have this last month. He's so adorable. He's so adorable. Look at this picture. Look at this video. I've seen them already, of course. No, look at this one. Look at that smile. Look at the way, and it's really cute. But it's really a special thing. But it does have some deeper meaning, which I'm going to get to. So I would like to talk a little bit about the four great realms of heart. And you'll probably notice that I did add one, but it's the realm of a child's heart. And a child learns to receive love, also to give respect, right? And it's a learning process that's really, really important. And on that foundation, he has a brother or a sister, maybe not, maybe just friends, peers. But they learn this kind of a way of heart, of respect for each other, to look out for each other, to help each other. It's an ongoing process, and on that foundation, you grow and mature in your love, each time moving up in your heart and capability to love to husband and wife, which is the realm of heart, our conjugal, or this is a sacrificial kind of love, kind of unconditional love, they call it. And then I added one. Now I've heard that Father mentioned this one time. I tried to find it. I Googled tparents.org 100,000 times and looked through a million speeches, and I couldn't. But I heard that he did refer to the grandparents' realm of heart as the fifth realm of heart. So in a family, the grandparents are in the position of God, in the realm of perfection. Adam and Eve are in the position of direct connection to God, which stands in a vertical position to them, and their sons and daughters are in a position that represents the future world. It should be very clear to you that your family is a foundation for you to inherit the three great kingships of the past, present, and future. In conclusion, the grandparents stand in God's place, right? So within the family, the parents are the king and queen, and your own sons and daughters are princes and princesses who will inherit the future kingdom of heaven. Wow. It's another step and another stage, and as you can see, each one is on a foundation of the next one to grow your heart and your ability to love. Grandparents represent God in heaven. Their position is like heaven. As elders in your family, our grandparents bring heaven to us. That is why you need to attend them as a representative of God. Think of them as a representative of the kingdom of heaven and serve them as you would serve God. This teaching is one of the traditions of the ideal family. If the husband and wife fight, the grandfather and grandmother will say, "No, don't do that." When your children or the grandchildren fight, they say, "No, don't do that." In this way, with love, they play the role of a servant. So as you can see, it's kind of, as you're going up, you're kind of coming down to where you're a servant, but a servant of love, of giving love. Your heart is growing so much that that's what you live to do, is to give love. To give love to, of course, the grandchildren, but to your children, to people around you. Says, you're in a high position. Grandparents play the role of the servant of love to the greatest extent. The greatest, most amazing, and most powerful person in the universe is a person who walks away of the servant of love. So it's like we evolve and start over again, but the servant of love is the greatest position to be in. As you're giving love, you're expressing love, and love is coming back to you. And the fulfillment of love and the expression of God's love is really what our purpose is, what God's purpose in creating us is, right? Father said, "My grandfather is God's ambassador. My father and mother represent the king and queen of the world, and I am the future king of the heavenly nation and the world." This is what we do in the Unification Church. So, how does the fifth realm fit into all this, right? Well, I did start with true parents' realm of heart, which is God, right? So it's kind of a fifth realm. I don't know about you, but before the church, I was one of those spiritual seekers. Any of you were spiritual seekers ever? Nobody? You just fell into it, right? God, you're so lucky. Really. But the fifth realm Christian body was founded by a Michael Uma through a God-given revelation in 2016 when, according to the scripture of Psalms 27:4 through 14, it says the fifth realm body is aimed at drawing people to the secret place never to leave and develop a one-on-one relationship with the Father, to the point of beholding the image of God and being transformed into that same image, that he begins to lead us in every step we take in our lives. So we grow spiritually. As we grow spiritually, we become more in tune with God, right? And as you become more in tune with God, God's directing you throughout the day and giving you advice and saying, go talk to that person, go see that person. That person needs help. Tell that one I love them. Oh, could you pet that puppy dog on the way? And, this is a kind of relationship we are meant to have with God. Because of our spiritual senses, sometimes, we don't do that. But that's our goal. Her name is Vidya. She's an author, energy healer, transpersonal psychotherapist, whatever that might be. But anyways, she goes on and she writes of the ascension into the fifth dimension. Now, I'm not saying any of this is true. However, I believe you'll see some similarities that are astounding here. She says, according to the ascension teachings, the earth and all beings living on the earth are in the process of shifting into a whole new level of reality, in which a consciousness of love, compassion, peace, and spiritual wisdom prevails. This has been called the fifth dimension. Some call it Chanelguk. But the similarities are amazing. And what's really amazing is that some say the shift will probably be complete within the next couple of decades, right? Others give no date, but all seem to agree it will be complete sometime in the near future, although individuals will be each moving into the fifth dimension at their own rate. Wow, right? When their frequency is high enough to match the vibration of the higher dimension. It's coming together for me, but I'm kind of a wacko like that, The vibrations of God, the vibrations of the universe, becoming one with that. And we do that through our ability to love. How profound. God, Father is so amazing, isn't he? Wow. Through developing your level of heart, you're developing your spirituality, you're developing your rhythms to be able to come one with the universe and God. Anyways, they gave December 21st, 2012 as a date that was given at the midpoint of the shift taking place, and that it'll continue to unfold in more and more obvious ways, picking up speed as time goes on. Wow, 2012 was a pretty important year in our church, right? Yeah. Things are moving. Things are changing. We just witnessed it, right, with the Unity Festival. 10,000 people or however many. There's 10,000 signups, I know that. And was that amazing? And so many of you, I think our community just totally changed. Everybody just united, working together to make it happen. And through that love of loving people, you became serious about it, right? I saw so many of you just so serious. I remember James, hallelujah, right? I didn't see him do that before. But I mean, we changed inside. We changed our spirituality. We learned how to love more deeply by working together through unity, through loving, through sharing God's love, through sharing true parents' love. So most say it's like a fairy tale, right? And much has been described about this fifth dimension. It does sound like a fairy tale. Let me give you the main points. All people living in peace and harmony, experiencing oneness with all of life, fully respecting all people and the earth itself. Love and compassion flowing through all communications. This is what the fifth dimension that's coming, it's transpiring right now. Equality, justice, and respect for all human beings reigning on earth. No more hunger, no more poverty, no more crime, with abundance available to all. Everyone living without fear, with complete trust in the divine God, true parents. Everyone awoke to the majestic, divine, interdimensional beings they truly are. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that Chanel Guk? Isn't that what Father and Mother are telling us, are showing us? To raise in our spiritual senses, to open our spiritual senses, to raise our level to love people, to go out and talk to people, to spread true parents' name, to give the blessings for us, that we can really grow our hearts, grow our spirituality, become one with the Father, that we can bring in this Chanel Guk. It's not just a little catchphrase. It's really happening. It's happening around the world. Many of our leaders, like Leslie with UPF, Ms. Yamaguchi, and all of you that have helped have reached out to these top-level ministers that all of a sudden they're turning around. It's that time. It's a time. It's happening. Believe it, right? Amen. You believe it? Yes. A lot? Yes. According to Vera Ingborg, she's previous CEO of a very successful corporation. She had this awakening experience, and she found that life was more than just going to work every day. So she quit her job and studied and went out there looking for spirituality. And she said, when going through the process of spiritual awakening, sooner or later we are confronted with the fact that there seems to be more dimensions in the one reality we're living in and that we know so well. So she goes on to say the higher dimensional energies are calling us. Maybe God's calling us. Maybe our ancestors are calling us. We just went through liberations, right? They're all hanging around. They're all calling out, Angie, come sing in the choir. It's just, but I mean, we're hearing these voices, right? Aren't we being pushed? Don't you feel something? It's hurrying you up. The higher dimensional energies are calling us. We start resonating with them and go on to our quest to find out more about who we truly are. We learn about universal energies and different frequencies and what ascension truly means. An energetic shift from 3D to 5D by raising our frequencies to a much higher level and transmuting those low frequencies of fear into unconditional love, up to a point where no fear is left. These words were right from their websites. I didn't change them with our unconditional love and all our other words. This is what they're feeling. This is what they're thinking. They're seeing it in the world around them. They're feeling that it's a time for change, a time where it's mankind's responsibility to grow spiritually, to touch God, and to reach out to the world. It says in 5D, we live according to the universal energetic laws, knowing that we create what we think. There are no man-made rules or laws because people fully trust the energetic flow and where it takes and guides them to. There is no need for possessions or status. There's no competition and nothing to compare. Everything becomes a sharing. We just are. We love ourselves and appreciate our individuality as a part of the whole. We know that our needs are always met and we are always taken care of. Gratitude is always present. When we live in 5D permanently, we have reached a state of enlightenment. So no wonder, and this is again their words, no wonder that is referred to as heaven on earth. I think they're getting it. I think it's that time, and I really want to back up a little bit here because does this mean if you are not a grandparent that you won't get here? So these are the realms of heart, right? And Each higher sphere is founded on a lower sphere. Each sphere is more unselfish and takes more responsibility, right? And they all require effort. So then, how do we do that? Well, it just so happens that there's how many billion people? 7 or so in the world that Mother's asking us to reach out to. Everyone is your brother or your sister or your aunt or your uncle or your son or your daughter or your parent or your grandparent or your grandson. You can have these relationships with anybody, right? You don't have to be a grandmother or a grandfather to adopt some young'un that needs some guidance, that needs some love, that needs some caring in his life, that needs some spiritual guidance, that needs to come to know true parents, right? Yeah. And if you're younger, being on the reciprocal part of that, you can help that older person by being that kind of object there. And let them give you the love. Let them give you the hope. Let them give you the direction. Hopefully it's a good direction. If it's not, yeah. So I think that we all have an opportunity. We all have an opportunity to really become these true children and really true sons and daughters of God. I think that now is the time. It's all around us. People are changing. People are looking. People are seeking. It's the time. You can feel confident. And every day that you get up, that God's going to guide you to that grandparent, to that aunt, to that uncle, to the son, the daughter, for you to reach out to, for you to guide, for you to bring true parents into God. Thank you very much.